Hello. Um, I thought today we could do a little get to know you vid so that those who don't know me, I mean, most of you do, but those who don't know me, or if anybody finds this later on, wants to get to know me, they can. And what I've done is I put some questions on Instagram, but obviously, because I'm using my phone at the moment to record, I've written them down on here. So I'm just going to go through and answer them and yeah, sit back and enjoy basically. And hopefully, even those of you that I do know in real life might learn something new. And yeah, be quite nice. Okay, so question one. My friend literally sent me the meme. I think it used to be a Vine of the why are you running?
Why are you running? Why are you running?
Yeah, the Vine, why are you running? First of all, I really enjoy it. I wouldn't do it if I didn't enjoy it, even if I have a bad run or even if I have to stop running because of an injury or, you know, just because I'm not feeling it or I'm tired or whatever. I'm still always grateful that I gave it a go and I always get something out of it. So I do enjoy it. I also enjoy the challenge of it. I really enjoy training long term and having a race to look forward to. But mostly, I think it just helps me feel better about my own health. You know, I've grown up in a very health conscious family, and you know, when I was younger, I didn't really care, and you know, I used to eat whatever without thinking about it, and just used to, you know, be like, oh, I'll worry about that one day. Or, you know, I used to obviously drink a lot of alcohol as you do when you're a student. I used to smoke. And then when I turned 30, I decided that lifestyle wasn't for me anymore. And I started to notice that certain people who weren't that much older than me were starting to have some quite serious health problems. And I didn't want that to be me, basically. So I quit smoking, first and foremost. And I took an entire year off drinking and then started to take the gym more seriously. And the gym, doing strength training, changed my life, absolutely changed my life. And it's always been a bit of a pipe dream for me to do a marathon. So then I started running again. I'd sort of run before, but I'll talk about that in a bit. But I started running again. I signed up for a marathon and I signed up first of all for a half marathon last year and started taking it seriously for the first time ever. And then as I was checking, I've got an Apple Watch, and as I was checking my stats, I was like, oh, what's VO2 max? What's, you know, what are these zones? What's this? What's that? What's the other? And I realised actually that in my mind, I'd always been health neutral. And then I realised just quite how unhealthy I was, but at the point where I could still catch it. Like there was no defining moment. Like I didn't go to the doctors and they were like, if you don't make a change now, you're gonna die or whatever. But it was just that kind of wake up call where I feel like I caught it just in time. Okay, how did I get into running? It was a bit of a funny one really. I sort of ran all my adult life on and off. I think especially when I was at uni, I'd just sort of do the odd couple of months where I'd be like, oh, I'm going to run a few times a week, and then and then I'd phase out. So it's always kind of been there. I used to get really self-conscious running, and I don't know what. I think it's because my form wasn't good, and so I used to run. I mean, people used to laugh, and it didn't bother me at all. It wasn't in like any form of nastiness, but I had like friends at school who used to laugh whenever I ran at like PE, because I used to move my legs like way too much, and I just looked like I was riding a bike without the bike. So yeah, so I used to get a little bit embarrassed when I was older, when I was trying to run by myself, and I didn't have the right shoes, I didn't have the right clothes, and I'd always try and start out too fast, all those typical things that we've all been through as runners. But it would fade out really quickly. And then in the pandemic, obviously, as most of us did, that's what I chose to do for my activity per day. But the first lockdown, I was stranded abroad, and where I was quite strict because COVID hit really, really bad. My parents were living out there at the time, so I'd gone to visit them on a week's holiday and got stuck out there. And so I was having to sneak out of the house basically to go on this run, because we weren't allowed out unless it was an absolutely necessary journey. We didn't get the 1 hour break like everybody did back home in the UK. So I think I was going out at silly o'clock in the morning, whatever, just where the sun was rising, so that I could avoid these basically these police officers that were doing tours around where we were living. And we could only walk the dogs a certain distance, and we couldn't walk together to walk the dog. It was really weird. It was really quite awful. And we managed to go from where my parents were in Spain to France after about 6 weeks. That journey's hilarious, but that's a story for another time. But when we got to France, where they used to live, we were staying in the house of a family friend who weren't there. They were back in the UK, and they lived really close to a canal, and the weather was glorious. And the lockdown was lifting by then, so it was a lot nicer. So I started running along the canal. We were able to go slightly further afield, and I just got really into it. And the sun was shining. It was perfect weather conditions. Yes, it was warm, but it wasn't humid, and I just started to enjoy it in a way I'd never enjoyed it before. So when I came home, I moved in with my friend up north, because again, I had to move in the pandemic. It's a whole thing. But moved in with my friend up north, and she had a really nice path near the house that we were living in. Sorry, hay fever is really bad at the moment. So she had a really nice path by her house, and I got into a really good habit I kept up with a really good habit of, going to work and either running in the morning before I started work or running when I got back, depending on what shift I was on. And the long sunny days, nice, not very humid, really, really nice weather. And then winter came, and with winter came another lockdown. And that's how I got out of the habit. Because, I couldn't do it. It was too cold. It was raining. Awful. And I still class myself as a fair weather runner, but I definitely was back then. And I moved into my own place. And I had a 3.5k route near my house, but it was nice, but it wasn't. Again, I went back into that, I'd do it for a couple of weeks and then I'd give up, and I'd do it for a couple more weeks and then I'd not do it for ages, and every now and again I'd be like, oh, I fancy a run, and I'd go for a run, but most of the time I was going to the gym instead. And then I moved down to Bristol, and for a year almost solidly, well no, just under a year, it's about 6 months. Yeah, probably about 6 months. I moved here in the February and I started running again in the September. I didn't go running over that summer, but then I started running again in September, and part of that was because I'd put on a lot of weight, way more than I've ever put on before, and I didn't want it to get out of control. And I also decided that now was the time I was going to do that marathon that I wanted. So I signed up with a PT who is still a very good friend of mine today and who I still work with. So I signed up with a PT and I started running by myself. And my boyfriend at the time also started running, so it was really nice for me and him to go out together, even though he was faster than me. So we started running together, and I signed up for a half marathon, which was the Bristol half. And then, the rest is history. I just haven't stopped since then. I found the run club after the Bristol half, after my breakup, and yeah, found my social circle, found my group, and yeah, just ever since. Okay, question 3. And another Run Club question. Do you guys run in tiers? Is it done by general speed? I'd feel awkward joining a group of seasoned runners. I nearly said elite runners then. Seasoned runners. It's always a social pace in my club. I'm just advertising my club now. We do it by distance is how we separate it. So on a Tuesday there's a 4K, a 6K and an 8K that we do on a Tuesday. And then on a Thursday we do 6K, 8K or 10K. And then there's always like a trail. Sometimes it's a trail, sometimes it's just slightly longer on a Sunday, and that's all one group just because we don't have that many people sign up on a Sunday. But yeah, it's always a social pace. We always have a front runner and a back runner who are like the run leaders. So we, one of our top 3 rules is nobody gets left behind. We always make sure that people can run at a pace where they can still hold a conversation, and like our job as run leaders, especially when we're at the back, is just to make sure that everybody gets some sort of enjoyment out of it while they're running. We did used to only have a 6K and an 8K on a Tuesday, but this year so far we introduced a 4K in January, I think, to help some of those people who've joined us on the 6 and weren't necessarily as confident to come back. We were trying to encourage those people to come back, so we had the 4K. Question 4, not a Run Club question. What is the best sandwich? This is a tough one. I really like, at the moment, I'm obsessed with bagels. And I think it's because I'm marathon training, and bagels are really, really good for getting your carbs in without it sitting too heavy. So I like to eat a bagel before I run in the evening. And I normally have it with either smoked salmon in Philadelphia or avocado and halloumi is a really good one, or chicken is always a good one, like chicken with seasoned chicken, like a chicken tikka or sweet chili chicken. I'm not vegan or vegetarian. So there's that. They're probably my top 3, but a bagel, anything on a bagel is good, isn't it? Just a bagel with butter. But no, I think at the moment, Philly and salmon and cream cheese, I should say. I shouldn't really. Salmon and cream cheese on a bagel. That's what I had for lunch. Okay, next question. How do you motivate yourself when you don't feel motivated? I kind of have the opposite problem at the moment, where I never really feel motivated as such, because I think motivation only ever gets you so far. It's more discipline. I think once I got started, like I say, with my PT, when I was going with somebody, when I started to enjoy it and started to see, and well, not see, but feel the benefits of running regularly, and my health improving in a way that I'd never really experienced before, and my mental health getting to a point that I felt incredible all the time. Not all the time, that's silly, but yeah, my mental health improved, my physical health improved, I felt more comfortable in my body physically, like no constant aches or pains, and like there's a lot of benefits that came from the gym, don't get me wrong, but there was so different when I started running, that it gets to the point now where if I don't run I can feel it, so it kind of just feels like running is kind of, or being a regular runner is my like base level now. My sleeping improved, so it was just the first, when I got excited about it, when I had my PT and when I started going with somebody, I just started to enjoy it so much more. And then discipline. I always say that discipline gets you to places that motivation can't reach, and I think it's just making sure that if you were going to start running, just pick something sustainable that you can start off with. So maybe just go once a week and then bump it up to twice a week after about a month. And then go from there, and then you'll realise the more you do it, the better you feel, the more you want to do it. How do I balance running and the gym? I obviously run at dedicated days with my run club, so I do Tuesday and a Thursday, unless I'm injured or unless something comes up where I physically can't be there. And then I'll do a long run on the weekend. But on a Wednesday, I do a gym class it's called Ladies Who Lift, and it's with my PT and a bunch of us. I mean, that's where I met my PT, really, is I signed up to her class, and that's my Wednesday night, and we do a full body workout, and then I'll try and go one more time in the week. She's recently moved it back to Wednesday. For the last few months, they've been trying to find different mornings and evenings that work for them, but I do writing club on a Monday night, so the timing just gets a bit tight. And then we're also doing like a Thursday morning, but I run Thursday after work, so yeah, so it just gets a bit all over the place. So when that was going on, I was doing 2 workouts a week. I was doing upper body and lower body, and upper body tended to be on a Monday, and lower body tended to be on a Friday or a Saturday, depending on when my long run was, because obviously I want that break. Sometimes it would be on a Sunday if I did my long run on a Friday or whatever, but now I just do 2 full body workouts, and actually that's kind of better, because then my legs aren't under too much strain when I do like lower body stuff. But when I'm not training for the marathon anymore, it will be more like balanced the other way. Like I'll go to the gym 3 times a week probably, and then do 2 runs and then like a medium length run for me. Obviously everybody's long run looks different, but for me it would be somewhere between like 8 and 15, rather than trying to get these like 18k, 25k. You know, the next one was supposed to be 32, but I don't think I've got time to fit it in before the marathon. But it's fine. I know I can do what I can do. So so instead of trying to hit those like really, really long distances while I'm training, it would just be like I say, somewhere between 8 and 15, and I'll either do it at the run club, or if I'm feeling doing it a bit slower, then I'll do it by myself. So it'd be 3 and 3. Next question: biggest challenge as a runner, or what is my biggest challenge as a runner? I'd probably say there was 2. The first one is I have an old injury from when I was a teenager that flares up time and time again, and in January I was supposed to be doing the backyard ultra that my club was running, and I had to pull out on the day just because it was so sore, and that is my biggest gripe when I'm training for a race, because again, that's the thing that got triggered in my first marathon attempt, which meant I was too slow for the cut-off point, and I had to DNF, because if I'd have carried on running, it would have just got worse, and I was in denial at the time, but I tried to run after that too soon. It was like 3 weeks later, and I had to DNF that one as well, and it was only 6k. So that's probably my biggest challenge as a runner in terms of like my physical. And then my second biggest challenge is getting the nutrition right. I find that so difficult, because I'm trying to make sure I get all the nutrients that I need without, eating anything that's too dense or too heavy, like physically, so that I'm not getting stitch, or getting the timings right in the day. How long do I need to eat before I start running, or what time of day am I running today, or have I eaten enough breakfast to be able to warrant a long run? Do you know what I mean? So it's all those things. And then also, while I am running, especially with the longer distances, like the shorter distances, I can kind of get away with like not needing any nutrition. Anything under sort of 10k, for sure I don't need any additional nutrition on the run itself. But on my longer runs, it's making sure, when am I having gels? Am I having too many? Have I had enough? Do I need something a bit more dense than a gel. Like, I quite like the gels, but like, do I need a flapjack? Do I need emergency jelly babies? Like, I either take too much or too little, and there's no in between. What is the big post-run process like after your big race today? Or he sent it to me the other day, that's why. After my big run today, what do I do? Do I stop doing the training? Do I rest for days? What's the, oh, I've done it now, what's next bit? Well, I'm going to be honest, the run that I did on Saturday was probably my last long run before I do my marathon. So I'm straight back to training. I've taken yesterday and today off, although I might do a little run with my housemate later just because he wants to go and I've got some time to kill. So I've got to jump straight back into training this time, which has quite often been the case. I think I've only had 2 races so far that I've not had to immediately get back into training for. The first one was the marathon I DNF'd, so I had to do nothing because I had a very, very sore ankle. Although the following weekend, to cheer myself up, I did go camping in Dartmoor and I did like a big 26-mile hike. Not mile, what the fuck? A 26k hike I think I ended up doing on one of the days, and then the next day we got washed out, so we went round town, but that was still like a good 15,000 steps. We went to a little town, just did a wander about, got some really good food. So not recommended to do a half marathon distance with an injury and then immediately go hiking the week after. What I'm going to do after this marathon is take a week to myself. Might go visit some family. I might see how I feel. Might see if I can even get there at this point because I'm having issues with my car. There's an ongoing saga. So fingers crossed it will all be fine. But yeah, so my plan this time is to take a week off. So what's my favourite book is the first question. Now I have 2. One of them's a series now. I can't remember the name of the series. But it's by Samantha Shannon and it's her I Will Google. Okay, so I've had a quick look. It's the Roots of Chaos series. But it's the one that's like Priory of the Orange Tree, which I read when it was a standalone, and then she released a prequel called A Day of Fallen Night, and then the third one is out later this year, and I've pre-ordered it and I'm so excited. But that's my favourite series, and it's high fantasy and there's dragons, and it's and then this second favourite book that I've got is called Light by Eva Figes, and anyone I went to uni with and did English with will roll their eyes, but it's basically like a fictionalized version of like Monet's life, as in the painter Monet, but told through like a day in the life of. If I could travel anywhere, where and why? Well, I've had quite a stressful day before I start recording this, so right now I'd probably go to some like all-inclusive resort, but normally I would say the Dolomites in Italy, because I really, really want to go and hike in those mountains. Well, I want to go in the summer, so it's a hike and not a ski, because I can't ski. Ultimate comfort movie or TV show. After my race the other day, I watched The Addams Family, and I would have watched The Addams Family Values, which is the second one, but I fell asleep. So I like stuff like that. I'm a big fan of spooky but not horror. I'm such a typical like millennial white girl. It's so funny. But I like stuff like Hocus Pocus. That's a really good one. I like stuff like what's the other one? Practical Magic, stuff like that. The Craft. So like spooky but not super scary. I don't like. I used to really like horror films when I was a teenager, but now I don't want to be scared. Everything's scary outside. I just want to have fun. But I like spooky stuff quite a lot. that's the end of my questions. So I hope you've all got something out of it. It's nice to be introduced to some people who might not know me. I guess I should actually just talk about, I'll just move that out of the way. I should actually talk about like why I wanted to start a YouTube channel in the first place. And like sort of what my goals are for 2025, which was a video I had planned and recorded back in January, but I was too scared to post anything for like a good couple of months. So I wanted to start a YouTube channel mostly to build a community of people who were in a similar situation to me, where they were like either hybrid athletes, so sort of going to the gym, sort of running, wanting to do more like hiking and stuff in the summer, so that kind of thing, and just mostly just like an outdoorsy lifestyle for other people who think of themselves as like not necessarily that athletic but still enjoying like sports and stuff. And also I want to share just like an overall lifestyle thing. Like I think it's because I'm properly training at the moment. It just seems to all be about running. But I do want to share some more stuff about like, you know, my writing and stuff, because that's like my main hustle, I should say. Like I'm writing a novel. I've got a script portfolio that I'm editing, and hopefully we'll be sending that off to agents soon. I've got a poetry collection that's out to publishers at the moment that are, some of them have come back and said that they don't want it, which is fine. But it's still with quite a few publishers at the moment, so hopefully somebody will pick that up. So I've got like, you know, I've got like other stuff outside of sports and being active and being outdoorsy that I've got going on, and I do want to share like a whole how like running and the gym and everything can fit into a lifestyle overall, not just, you know, those things themselves. So so there's going to be a bit of everything on here. I'm still trying to work out how the scheduling's going to work, but what I think I'm going to end up doing, I was chatting to my friend about it this morning actually, but what I think I'm going to end up doing is doing like a running playlist, and then like a weekly vlog, because there's a lot of vloggers I watch who do like a weekly thing. And you know, once the marathon's done with, I'm going to be doing a lot more hiking and camping and sharing stuff about the gym and whatever else. So I think I'll leave it there. So I might share one of the writing vlogs I've got written. I might share one of the writing vlogs I've got edited over the next like couple of weeks. But yeah, it's not just going to be about running, but it will be apparently primarily running. So I hope you enjoy. I hope you're not just here for the running. I hope you're here to enjoy all of the things. And yeah, if you like what you see, please subscribe, and like click the bell if you want to get notified of any new videos. Please like or leave a comment or something like that, because as I say, I really want this YouTube channel to be successful, and the more you interact, the more we can build this community together. You know, it'd be really, really cool. I want it to be not just about, what am I trying to say? I don't just want it to be about running, but I want people who are not necessarily like confident in going running for the first time to want to be here, I guess. I'm just going to scrap that bit. Anyway, I will see you on the next one.